Welcome back to Retirement Coffee Talk with Sharice Rivers at Zinnia Wealth. Online, zinniawealth.com, ZINNIA wealth.com. Now, I know you're very busy, Sharice, with all that you do. Have you seen the new Eddie Murphy movie? They did another Beverly Hills Cop. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't seen the new Beverly Hills Cop movie because I'm afraid I'm not going to like it because I loved all the other ones. So I have not.
It's really pretty good.
It is.
They
Okay.
did a good job. I really enjoyed it. I think they recaptured everything. So
good news.
Eddie Murphy is now 63 years old. He was on with Jimmy Fallon, and he was, of course, talking about his new movie. Then they got to talking about back when he used to do stand-up. He tells a story about him doing stand-up, and in the front row is singer James Brown. And after the show, James Brown comes up to Eddie and gives him some financial advice. This is the advice.
You know, and you got to make sure you get your money, any money you got, and bury it in the woods. And I was like, well, it's buried in the woods. I said, the government going to take your money if you have it in the bank. The government will take your money. You bury that money in the woods. Oh, my God. And I said, but can't the government take your land? And he said, well, they won't know where the money is.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh, that sounds like my dad. He said, if I pass away, go dig up the backyard. Or if I drive off a bridge, make sure you get that truck because there's money hiding in the truck. And that is so funny. I love it.
And it's so true. I mean, there is a generation of people. My grandmother, I would say we found $8,000 in a Band-Aid box in the freezer. You know, I mean, it's nutty. And people would bury money. And that was their idea of safe money. They had to have a place where they knew nothing's going to touch this. So they put it in a coffee can and they'd bury it.
And or in the TV, I hear.
There's another one. Okay. My grandma, she also put money in her water heater. She hired it. It was crazy where she hid money. But she lived through the Depression and she and her parents and all of that. But at the same time, even though we don't do that much anymore, the feeling is still there. We still want that piece of our money that is completely safe from people stealing it, from the market getting it, and from the banks closing and all those different things. But Sharice, that's not the best idea for safe money these days, is it?
No. Even I like money in cash. Like I'm hoarding a little cash myself.
Okay.
But the cash is making 5%, right? So here's the deal. There's a lot of dead money out there. People are not even in the banks invested right, meaning they're in the savings account making 0.25% when they could actually be in a CD making 5%. So that's serious dead money. And there's trillions of dollars in the entire economy sitting there doing things like that.
Right.
So talk about putting the money in the TV, hiding the money in the TV, burying it in the backyard, in the woods. That's way worse. I mean, I get it. Keeping your money in the woods, buried in the ground is safe from maybe the government if you go that far and you think they're going to take your money. I'd still like your money in a savings account making 0.25%. That's better than nothing because I got to tell you, a lot of people are so fear of the stock market going down, yet they put all their money in a safe at home and or at the bank making 0.25% because they're ultra conservative. But we have to remember we lose to inflation and the future purchasing power of those dollars. And it's a compounding. That loss is bigger than anybody could imagine. And so I get safety, but you can have safety and these guarantees and these backups and be making money so that the cost of goods, when your cell phone is costing $2,000 in 10 years, that $1,000 investment at the bank isn't worth $500. Right. You know what I mean? Now you're having to pay, 3 times the amount for the Apple iPhone, for example. That's a little drastic, but that is how it works. The future purchasing power. So for those people who are saying, hey, I'm just going to put my money in the backyard and just dig it up later, and or in the woods, I would suggest for you, I know who you are. You are ultra conservative. You are scared of the government. You're scared of the banks. You're scared of all that kind of stuff. But you do know deep down inside that you need to make a little bit of money, but you're so worried because you just don't trust what you've seen in the past to actually prevail in the future that you do nothing. And that is more crippling than anything. So how about something that is guaranteed by the state? And especially in Florida, I think our state is ran pretty darn well. Governor DeSantis has this place really ticking, and I don't see any issues going on here with any bankruptcies or anything like that, right? So bet on the state that you live in, number one. And you can and bet on insurance companies. Insurance companies are a great way to invest your money. And if you go back to, the Great Recession and Depression, and go back all the way to Babe Ruth era, he had his money with insurance companies. And you know what? He didn't lose any money. Yeah. He was ultra conservative. Probably sounds just like you all out there that are ultra conservative. And those things are still here today. You're not going to get rich in those things. But right now, if you can make 4, 5, or 6% fixed guaranteed, you still have some backup. You have some protections from the state. You have some protection from these insurance companies, and they have fixed rates and they have index rates. To me, that's probably the perfect place for monies for the ultra conservative person. But I recommend not putting all your money there. So I'm still probably going to say, if you're going to keep money close by, you can still keep it in your backyard or in your safe if you want to, but let some of that money make money so that you can afford that next iPhone, or so that you can afford to take those kids to Disney World in the future, and those grandkids to Disney World or Universal in the future, because, $1,000 ticket, let's say you have 5 tickets you got to buy, that's $1,000 right now. It's going to be, think about it, at least $1,500 in 10 years, probably more like $2,000. Who knows what's going to happen with inflation? So you got to really consider that. And I hope the picture that I just painted helps, because it's really important that your money is working for you.
Well, this is part of the conversation when you sit down with Charisse, and, as we talk through these things, you may not say in the first meeting, yeah, I've got a coffee can in the backyard and it's buried and it's got a bunch of money in it. I understand that you probably wouldn't talk about that at the first meeting, but as we kind of talk through what you want to do and what you have done and what you've saved, and we're going to get a pretty good indication that you don't like the stock market. You don't want your money going up and down. You don't trust a certain amount of that, and that's just fine. There's a lot of people who are in your category, and you don't have to bury money in the backyard. It's okay. There are places to put your money where you can make money, and you don't have to feel like it's volatile and it's going to go away in the next market crash. Give us a call. Let's talk through that. Let's have that meeting, and let's get to know you and find out how you feel about all this. You are just as entitled to a great retirement as anybody else. There are people that are moving money around and they're buying stocks and all that. Maybe that's not you. That's okay. Let's sit down and talk anyway. 833-368-3680. 833-368-3680, or find us online at zinniawealth.com, ZINNIA wealth.com. There's a button there that says Complimentary Retirement Consultation. It's a gold button down in the lower right-hand corner, and click on that. We'll ask you a couple of questions, and you'll be on your way to a date on a calendar, a meeting with Charisse, and let's talk about you, your hopes, and your dreams about your retirement.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Coffee Talk podcast. If you have questions or would like to begin the process of building a tailored retirement plan, call Zinnia Wealth at 833-368-3680 or find us online at zinniawealth.com.
Charisse Rivers is an investment advisor representative of Zinnia Wealth Advisory, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate, and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Charisse Rivers is licensed in your state, please contact their office. Zinnia Wealth Advisory, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency, and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any client experiences discussed during this show are unique to that client. They are not meant to imply or suggest you will experience the same results. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Charisse Rivers, NPN Insurance License Number 8718011.